Just don't want us to get kicked out. All right, all right. What's up, everybody, man? Thank you guys for jumping in. Happy New Year. Got I know Cuz right there. He's on mute on another line. He'll be jumping in with us. Mr. Stasek, what's up, brother?
Hey, Coach. What's going on, Johnny?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Happy 2022.
We kicked the year off with the bang. Get sickness out of the way first of the year, right?
Yeah, man. I got hit with my first bout of the vid the week before Christmas, week after you came for MGK. And so, knocked me around a little bit, but, fever, stuff like that. But I got good buddy of mine who's a doctor dropped me off some ivermectin on my doorstep. I hit that, and I literally, like, within 24 hours, 90% of my symptoms were gone. No, I had a sore throat. It felt like I was swallowing razor blades, and headache, fever, 102 fever. And like literally after the first dose, next day I was good. And then second dose, I was even better. Literally no sore throat, no fever. And all I got is just a little bit of a tickle in my throat left. And that's just the last lingering bit. Back on the bike, back on the in the pool, and just back at it again. So
back at it.
Yeah. How about you?
I hit the bike yesterday. Felt great. I am a proponent of ivermectin. I will say that, and definitely the hydrox, whatever it is. So that combination, man, I felt 36 hours. I took the second dose, and I haven't felt. I felt great since. And so
that's awesome.
It was good. It was really good. I was going to run this morning, but you got the wind chill. So I just didn't want to mess with it. And I plugged into the Normatex and squeezed for a good half hour, and tried to stretch a little bit later today. But, I've got double duty rest of the week, and I've got a long weekend. So looking forward to back at it and keep pushing it.
Love it, man. Love it.
So, we definitely had question already, kind of what's going on with the agent attraction program. You want to give an update, kind of where things are at? I know you and Holly and Cuz have been working on that. And so I'd love for you to maybe give everybody an update.
So Jay has finished his first draft of the presentation. We have to insert the testimonials. In fact, that's what I'm working on literally today and tomorrow, is where we're inserting the testimonials. We got great testimonials. We got those edited. It's just huge process that it's just heavy. And you gotta tackle it like you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So that's what we've been doing. Jay put together a great presentation. Everyone's going to be very happy to find out that I believe, let me see what the total is on it. It's only 24 minutes long. Now that's gonna change when we start inserting some of the testimonials, but I think our goal is to keep it, right around that 35 minute mark. And Jay was able to, to chop it. Cause if everyone knows, I think our last ones have been like 47, 48 minutes long. And we've heard the feedback that it's too long and this and that. And there's two different schools of thought with that. But the bottom line is, if it's good content and it captures their attention, they're going to watch the whole thing. And so we're going to insert testimonials where it's appropriate based upon where we're at in that presentation. So when we're talking about the collaboration and the growth, we're inserting testimonials on how honey badgers have doubled their business since they've joined. When it talks about, the stock, we're putting in testimonials about how it's changed people's lives and it's made them millionaires, and they've never been a millionaire before. And now all of a sudden they are. And when obviously the revenue share, when we talk about the revenue share, we're inserting examples on, Dan Hillsman and some other people in there that gave some great, testimonials on how they're not a slave to sales any longer, and that they're not, They don't have to run on that treadmill at 1,000,000 miles an hour to make a good living. And so, you know, we're going to be inserting those in. So we're making headway. That's the update that I have. And that's I think where we're at with that product. I mean, our goal was to get it kicked out before the end of the year. I didn't think that was going to happen. That was a lofty goal. But we are making progress, and I'm excited about the progress that we've made so far, and be getting out to you.
Hofstadter's law. Everything takes twice as long, even when you factor in Hofstadter's law.
Ain't that the truth?
Cuz, what's good?
Man, Happy New Year.
New Year.
It's great, man. Just good stuff all around. You know, that presentation was one of the monkeys on my back. So I'm glad that the meatiest part of that is done. Now we're adding some following up pieces that go along with that, which is probably equally as much work, but you know, you've already done the main part, so it's not quite as bad. But yeah, I'm excited about that. That's for sure. I'm excited about the event we have coming up with Coach Burt. We got an event with Glenn Sanford coming down to Puerto Rico this month, and had a great call with Coach Burt today. And just, man, it's all around excited about the year, excited about the growth and the direction everything's going. Numbers are all looking good. Lots of people joining. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great year. I'm looking forward to it.
Any insight on the EXP leadership front? Anything that we can share or would like to share?
Yeah, this month will be a big. Yeah, I can't say anything. I'm under an NDA, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised with this month and how things work out and some things that get announced. So, yeah, and that is all I can say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. Albie, the new program, what's the cost going to be on that?
I'm sorry.
$15 a month, I believe. We cut the price in half from what it was with expert mentors. $15. I believe that's right,
Gotcha.
Isn't it?
I wasn't aware of that, but hey, if we can get it down to that price, that's great.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the reason why we can't offer this for free is because it's literally costing us thousands and thousands of dollars every month. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this to put out more value, and someone's got to, you know, every seat that's taken costs more money. So there has to be a cost associated with it because there's technology, but we're trying to keep the cost as low as possible, keep that barrier of entry as low as possible.
Yep.
I might call your
See, we're going to have to edit that from the report.
You know, I mean, too, there's also, you got to make the investment. I just know over the years, stuff that we've had that we didn't have to pay for, we just didn't pay attention to it. We just didn't realize it to the capabilities. So when you make that investment, when you make that investment, you want to, you pay attention to it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to share a few things, John, if that's cool.
Yeah, I would love for you to.
So I got up today and, you know, for the last, 2 weeks, if you've been paying any attention to social media, you're seeing everybody put their 2021 numbers and the things that they accomplished and all those things. And I've been, you know, I haven't posted anything about any of that. But I've been observing. And so a couple little takeaways on that, you know, so when people are posting their wins, first of all, I think it's a great idea. We do it as a part of our exercise and our planning to reflect back and look at the wins. But this morning, for whatever reason, I don't know how this happened, but I ended up getting on one of Jesse Isler's recordings that he does about his big ass calendar that he carries around. And I ended up ordering my own big ass calendar. And the one thing that he said, which I thought was profound, I wrote it down, was that the average human being only lives to be about 78 years old. Okay. And I personally have already used up 48 of those years. Now, the exciting part is is that still leaves me 30 if I live to be the average. And there's no guaranteeing that any of us are going to get out of bed tomorrow, but we're just, basing upon the average, right? And so I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to waste 2022. You can make excuses to say COVID took, some months away from us, and it certainly, it did for many things. Maybe we couldn't go on some of the trips that we thought we wanted to go on, or it interrupted travel, or it interrupted time with family, whatever. But I ain't going to waste 2022, and I ain't going to lean into the excuses of 2020. And so what it made me do is it made me look back, and this actually came from Jesse as well, as, what life defining things are you going to put in your calendar for 2022 if you haven't already? Not just goals, what life defining things. And, I've been guilty of not planning out my year, although I'm aware of it and I want to plan it out to be able to look back at the year and say, damn, I crushed this year. But I want to be more intentional about looking at my year. Now this is something that we've done ever since I've had the honor of working with you two, is we always plan out our events in advance for the year, right? Which we just had our meeting on that. But what about planning out your time with your kids? How many special times with your kids or your significant other or whatever are you putting in the calendar? What trips are you putting in there? What life-defining things are you going to put in your calendar for 2022 that you're going to be able to look back at the end of 2022 and 2023 and look at it and be like, damn, I won the year. Don't play on defense and wait for shit to get into your calendar and just, because what's going to happen is things are just going to start coming into your calendar at a rapid rate. The next thing you know, you look back and you're like, damn, the year got away from me. But if you take a proactive approach and get that stuff in the calendar now. And so for me, I've not done the best job of getting all of those things and literally winning 2022 before 2022 even happens by looking at it. And that's what Jesse did. So I ordered up his calendar. It's $99 for the calendar. It's on its way. But it kind of made me look back because I didn't do it. And I've been seeing everyone else put their wins up. And I'll share just a couple of wins with you. I put 9 down, but I guess the number one thing that was life defining for me is I had a big dream of flying my whole family somewhere down and spending a whole week with them somewhere in paradise. And we did that in July. Rented a huge home in St. John overlooking the ocean and the USVIs. And we spent a whole week with just the family. And that was something I've always wanted to do. I also got certified as a scuba diver. I bought a yacht, Honey Badger. That's been fun. And, I spoke in front of 6,000 agents. That wasn't even a bucket list thing. That's just what happened, but it was definitely life defining. Went to the USVIs 3 times. I flew private for the first time, invested in 2 multifamily apartment buildings, hired coach, invested in myself, and I committed to my first Ironman. So that was just looking back at my 2021 of, what wins I was able to take away. And it actually inspired me to say, damn, and I didn't even think about it until I actually wanted to focus on what that year looked like. Notice it didn't say anything about selling more homes. But anyway, so that's just, kind of gives me a framework of how am I going to fill in the 2022 before 2022 happens? And so just getting more intentional on that, I wanted to share.
Love it.
So good. Jesse's amazing. And this is kind of what I changed because of him. Not a bucket list, it's a bucket list. And, that's straight from Jesse. That's just his thinking about it. And, we've done at boot camp the last, 10 plus years, one of the exercises that we usually take people through is just imagine like it's Christmas. What are all the things that you want to do, have, accomplish,
experience?
But it comes down to experience, right? Overwhelmingly, when you go through that exercise, a massive amount of the things that you write down are experiences. And so I love what you said there, Al, of being playing offense and going ahead and getting those things in the calendar. When we talk about right things, right order in the calendar, those always go first. And where we've seen most real estate agents make the mistake is they put work in first. They don't put those high lifetime value activities, those equities, house savers, the hard, the 75 hard, the hard life things that need to go in to. And I love what Coach, the three that he broke down, and Jay, you'll probably remember this. He's passed away, but what was his name? Sean Stevenson. He, tremendous motivational speaker. And, that was he had the pyramid, wealth and relationships. And, what are you doing to grow all three of those buckets, each and every month, each and every week, each and every day? What are you doing to commit to increasing the health, mental, physical? What are you doing to increase wealth, short-term, long-term? What are you doing to increase relationships, friends, family, and, community, colleagues, and really just pouring into those three buckets. And just like Al, like you said, and you got to play offense on those. And there's so many things that can be grouped into an experience that, and that's what we remember, right? We've had some incredible masterminds, but I remember the experience there more than the actual being in the room, although the rooms were magical in themselves. But, like Alaska was magical, but I remember the room, just the experience of how we put it together at the last minute. Jay, you got the best room in the hotel. Let's use it for our mastermind. And that made the experience was that. So yeah, focusing in on the experience is everything.
100%. I can't say enough how important it is to put the events in your calendar ahead of time. Like if you don't do that, I don't know my suspicion would be is you didn't make it to the events. Right. And so it's all about being intentional. And if you're serious about agent attraction, you go to the events. So you get those in the calendar. Those are all of those are in the calendar for us. But and the personal things for me, that was a big deal. I had to get my kids' calendar for the days off and stuff because, this year we didn't do as much traveling. First year in Puerto Rico, we didn't plan as much travel. It was a lot more of a hassle to do it. But I wasn't happy with the result either. There was things that we wanted to do, and that wasn't until a week before Christmas that we left our compound and found some of the coolest beaches on the island, all within 30 minutes of us. And so, that stuff has to get planned, or life just goes on, and you don't do nothing. And so, that for me, taking that time, taking my kids through that exercise, it was so funny, man. My kids, the things they came up with, which Kinley just took to it like a duck to water. She's a dreamer. Riggs was very frustrated in the beginning until he got into it, and then he started dreaming big. And Kinley was like, I want to be on Disney Plus. She's 6 years old. I didn't even know she knew what Disney Plus was. And so but if you don't, if you're not putting those things out there in the world, the things that you want to accomplish and you want to do and experience, and again, we've done this for the last 20 years. We've done this. And you go back and you'll look 10 years from now or 5 years from now, you'll be like, holy shit, I can't believe it. We did some of the things that were on this list that were bucket list items. And, it starts with putting it out there and having that vision and no constraints in your thinking, right? Like no constraints financially, no constraints, relationship wise whatsoever, no constraints to your dreaming. And it's a fun process to go through. Getting everybody on, everybody, not just you and your business, but also your family on that same line of thinking, and then getting things planned so that you can actually go have those experiences in your life. I mean, man, it just time flies if you don't do those things, and you're missing out on experiences you could be having.
So cool. It is so cool, man. And back to that list, and it's the constant grooming and making sure that the health of that list is relevant to who you are today, as we continue to evolve and become the best versions of ourselves. Some things that we thought we wanted on the list are no longer of importance to us. And so just making sure that you stay clear on that. It's like our goals, right? Making sure they're our goals and they're not somebody else's, because when they're somebody else's goals, you just don't push through when it gets tough. And so you got to make sure those items on your list, on your bucket list or effort list, whatever you want to call it, that they're aligned to who you are and who you're becoming, and things that you're still excited about, that you want to have and experience. And so constantly grooming that list is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things, go ahead, Albie.
No, I was just saying, I wrote that down. I wrote the health, wealth, and relationships thing down as what Coach had said was those are the 3 core things that people will invest in, in 2022 and probably beyond, those 3 things. And so keeping that in mind and just kind of going through my notes, the other thing that I wrote down was, what is my message? People understand, like, well, where do I get started? Like, what's your message that you're putting out there to your audience? And it should really, I believe, based upon, what I've learned and then reflecting back, is that your message should put out, the energy of, improving your health, wealth, and relationships, because that's what people are out there looking for to improve. So that was the only thing I was going to, insert and then add.
Yeah, I pulled this up, and Coach Burt talked about it today as the X factor, which is really comes back down to uncovering and finding that unique ability. And it's kind of cool, and because you're familiar with Dan Sullivan's work, and Coach Burt went through all 3 years with Dan, and I'm in year 2, and so it's one of the foundational pieces of strategic is finding that unique ability. And the one of the ways is just asking. And just like what Coach Burt said today on the call was, he asked you, what's an X factor for Al? And so if you're really trying to figure that out, but what strategic talks about as the benefits of defining that unique ability is that we have a deeper self-knowledge. We're able to have clarity, which is a huge thing for us that we push everybody on is to gain clarity of focus. When you know what you're really good at, you're going to do things that get you wins, which we know wins builds confidence. And, also the ability to let go and say no to things. That's where I think a lot of agents get tripped up, is they say yes too much and they need to say no more often, but they don't know what to say no to. And so therefore they say yes to everything. So when you know what you're the best at and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, it just makes it easier. But the process to go through, the tactical process is to ask that question. And it's real simple. Hey, I'm working with, the Honey Badger Nation and Coach Burt. We're going through a concept of finding our X factor, which is essentially our unique ability. The concept is based on the idea that everybody possesses a combination of talents, interests, and capabilities unique to that individual. I'd really appreciate it if you would help me identify mine by considering the following question and sending back an answer. What do you see as my unique ability? My unique ability includes my talents and abilities, characteristics that describe me and what I'm good at, how I do things, what you can count on me for, and any other distinguishing features you see about who I am. I'm grateful. Please, I look forward to hearing from you. All the best. So sending that question out, and the reality is if you send it to 10 people, 4 people will respond, 4 or 5 people will respond, and two of those 4 or 5 are going to be dead spot on. So, man, send that out. Get some perspective. People that know you the best. Also, people that aren't afraid to tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And that's where it starts. And then, some of the personality profile tests we've taken. It feels like every one of them under the sun. From the disc to colors to whatever the heck it is, being able to take those personality profiles. The one that strategic recommends is the Colby KOLBE. And it's an indicator of how we take action and how we work. And so it's a great measurement as well. Get that X factor.
Yeah, I mean, so today we had a great session with Coach Burt, and it was about person of interest and what, not just how to become a person of interest, but what do the people that are people of interest, what do they have? What are the 7 key factors? And what I wrote down is they're specialists in a specific topic. They're highly skilled in something special and specific. They have extremely high prey drive. They have contagious confidence about them. They're bold. They go big. Famous energy. They have an energy that kind of like, gives them a famous aura around them. They're entrenched in very strong networks. And the last is what you were just talking about, and that's the X factor. And in the leadership group, the number one thing that people said that they couldn't, and I was one of them. I was the one that wrote. I was one of 15 or 20 people in the group that all wrote X factor. Was the number one thing that they didn't know. What is the unique ability? So what John just said is invaluable, guys. If you don't know what it is, because I didn't until Jay, kind of pointed it out, and it's just having an awareness. It's in there somewhere. Ask the people that know, love, and trust you, that want to see you win. Ask them to give you what they think, and to ask them to just be brutally honest on what they think it is, so that you can identify it. And why is it important? Because that's going to be important. Unless you identify what it is, you can't really, craft your message that you want to be sending out to this audience on a daily, weekly basis, monthly basis, and what your message is to your what you want these people in your audience that you want to attract to you, what you want them to connect to with you. It's about the shared belief. And if you can't identify what that is, and thank you, Jay, for kind of helping me see that. And now it's for me, now that I wrote that down, is I want to now craft the message and I want to articulate it the best. How do I make a mountain out of that molehill? Okay, I help people solve problems. That's what Jay had said. I can see around certain corners, but how can I articulate that in the best possible way? And so that's kind of what I'm working on with my messaging, moving forward for 2022.
Al, where it really helps too is staying congruent to who you are, right? So you're delivering that message and people are like, yep, that's exactly Al. I can align with that. Whereas if there's some inconsistencies and they're like, I don't buy into that. I don't believe that's Al. And we've all been around those people. We sniff those people out. And so to me, that's where it's the most, because it allows you to stay authentic. It allows you to stay genuine. It allows you to stay true to who you are. And instead of trying to be somebody you're not. And I think that's because that's what people connect with. Right. And so it's just, I mean, both of you guys are the same way, right? You would give your shirt off your back. I mean, shit, literally, I've seen Jay do it several times. So it's like, when somebody is who they are, the congruencies. And when you understand what you're the best in the world at, you can behave and do more of that. It's like the productivity pyramid that we have, and it's aligning the talents and strengths. Well, when you look at it, we only have 1 or 2 talents and strengths as human beings, that if we could match that with those high lifetime value and those high dollar value activities, imagine if you spent 90% of your living time just doing 1 or 2 things that you're uniquely the best in the world at. What do you think your life would look like? It's so, once you get that and you know how to allocate your time around those activities, I mean, it's a game changer.
And it's enjoyable.
It is so enjoyable.
Way more fun.
It's got to be fun, right?
Yep.
You know what this got me thinking is and this is like a reverse spin on what you're saying, is that yes, you can go out and ask, because what I was thinking is that depending on who you ask this question to, you're going to get different answers. If you ask it to your best buddy, you might get a different answer than your significant other, your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband may give you a completely different answer on what they believe your superpower is. And I was told, I'm told on a consistent basis, and it's just funny because I don't necessarily believe it 100%, is that one of my superpowers is always seeing the best in people. And I'm from Cleveland, man. I mean, people walk around with a chip on their shoulder up this way, snow on the ground, shitty, cloudy weather, except today is actually pretty nice. And so it's like, I think that over the years, I just had a negative, I didn't really like people. Just being honest. I mean, there's a lot of jackasses out there. And the problem is I focused on the jackasses and their jackassery. And what I've learned over time is to try to give people a break. Try to hey, Jay, I don't know where you heard Jay, but what else does this mean is a really powerful question to start asking, and just getting in the habit of asking that question. And then it will kind of force you sometimes to see the better, instead of being pissed off at that person because this is the way they're thinking about all the divisive things that are going on in, from the left to the right to the COVID, the vaccine, all this stuff, and it's dividing us. And what I've been just trying to do is focus on, seeing these people as they're a human being, just like us. We're not going to agree on everything, but where's the good in it? And, but I that's not natural. This doesn't come natural to me. I don't think that's a superpower of mine. I think, in fact, it's a weakness of mine that I've had to focus and change my mindset. And it's like working out. I had to work that muscle out to get better because I sucked at it, but people will see just different things. And, a lot of times I think the things that they're seeing in you that you may not see are things that they feel they need to improve on. And that because if you're a leader and you're leading by example and you have that awareness, you're putting that aura out, you're putting that energy out, and they'll see it and you're just not even seeing it. So I think, yeah, John, powerful to ask other people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't, cause you may remember, I mean, I think a lot of that, I remember BMO's sharing that concept, that principle with us, Marley Adams, change your questions, change your lives. There's some of that in there, what else could this mean type of reframing the situation through questions. And I believe that's a skill set, and anything that's a skill set can be learned. Leadership is a skill, articulating your value is a skill, being a better human being, there's skills there. And so anything that's a skill can be developed and can be learned. And, for us, I know Jay and I, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, just, if you want to improve that mindset, you've got to be willing to invest in the tools and the resources that are out there. We shared, several of our favorite, works, books and things to dive into. Marley Adams, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. We talked about The Gap in the Game. We talked about Green Lights. We talked about Byron Katie's Loving What Is. We talked about Carol Dweck's book, Mindset. If you're really looking to improve, that space between your ears, like we all should on a consistent, constant basis, that's some of the best work that's out there to really be able to dive into, to really impact and control your thinking at a higher level.
For sure.
Man, I can tell you that nothing feels better than, reading one of those books that you just mentioned, or listening to the podcast, or listening and having a aha moment in self-reflection and self-discovery. Nothing feels better than that. You literally just improved your human score, and I don't think, I mean, yeah, there's some warriors out there like, John, who probably reads more books than anybody I know and is so consistent with it. But most people struggle with, blocking that time out and doing it. And that in itself is a huge move in the right direction. You can't win in business until you win personally. And I'm not talking from a place of where I'm winning. I feel that I win more than I lose, thankfully. But the only thing that I think that I've been able to look back and say, yep, I win in this category is awareness. And I'll tell you this, when you can reflect back in honesty and look in the mirror in honesty and stop bullshitting yourself, that's one of the biggest wins I think that we can all in our journey, really, really, that should be the first building block of stopping the bullshit and stopping lying to yourself. And if you're going to the gym every day, but you're going through the motions and you're really, you're just maintaining, look in the mirror and recognize that.
Yeah.
And then when you do something about it.
Amen, man. And I think too, it all comes back to circumstance and environment. I mean, I'm just fucking grateful. I've had 18 years of having somebody that's best in the world at making you really look in the mirror hard and calling you out on your bullshit. And, I wouldn't be the human I am without that environment with Cuz. And, us being super selective of who we allowed into the tight circle. You had to embody those things. And so, there's a great recipe for change. And, Jay was like, there's one thing missing from this. And it's exactly what you said, Al. And it starts with awareness. You cannot make a choice. You cannot make a decision until you have an awareness. And so it really is that powerful to either you have a high level of looking for you need to be checking yourself from an awareness perspective, or you better have people close to you that will help you create that awareness even when you don't want to have it created. So it's so important. That circumstance, that environment is, to me, is everything.
Love it.
It is. It's something that Coach said too. The thing that activates prey drive, one of the things that activates prey drive, which is, if you're not driven enough to be consistent and do these things and something's missing, it's getting in the room with people that challenge you in the way that we're challenging you right now. And that's got to be a bucket list thing every year, going back to what we're talking about with events. Like, that's got to be part of the plan for the year is what room am I getting into with what people that are going to force me to level up?
Yeah, man, I love that. Jim Rome 101, right? If you want to make $1 million this year, you better be willing to invest a line item on your P&L better be 10%. That's his rule of thumb. And if you want to make $1 million this year, you better be willing to invest $100K into your personal development. What rooms are you getting in? Where are you traveling to? Who are you getting to? But it's an investment. It's a line item in your personal P&L. If you want to make $1 million, you better be willing to invest that. And every time that we make those investments, it comes back over time in exponential returns. Jeez. I mean, just think that one decision that we went to Anaheim off of to see Jay Abraham, what the ripple effect over the last 15 years has been.
Crazy.
How much investment was that? $5K, $10K?
Yeah, 10,000 plus, flights and lodging and all that kind of stuff or whatever.
I think we're about 15K in just to get there.
Then we spent another 15K on the coaching afterwards. At least.
Him and Gordon Bazaar.
Mm-hmm. Never has cost us a penny to invest in ourselves. Never.
No. Never. It's an investment.
Yep.
So powerful. There was one thing in there too, Al, that you had said, kind of talking about, I was wanting to, it'll come back. It's a small room. Oh, man. You know, it feels like business as usual for us. I was kind of reflecting on that on New Year's Day. It's like, ain't shit changing. It's when you're, no matter what, it's one of my favorite MGK lyrics is, ain't nothing disrupting the vision. Nothing.
Right.
It's business as usual. It's discipline, staying consistent, continuing to improve, continuing to be better. And I hope, and I know a lot of the people that are tuning into this, they're on the same path. Man, Mike, I'll take a stab at this. I would love Jay and Al's perspective, but how do you find the one thing to focus on when you read these books or in these rooms? So this was a little shift for me about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. I know it was before COVID and all the nonsense, but I would look at the priorities and then I would seek out solutions to help solve those problems, right? So when you understand all good strategy, bad strategy, good strategy is solving the right problem. Mm-hmm. So what's the problem that is slowing you down or the constraint within your business model that's in pursuit of your vision? And those are your priorities. So wherever the constraint, wherever Herbie is, wherever the bottleneck, whatever that chosen priority, whatever that chosen rock or whatever you want to call it is going to be, better be solving the main problem in your business. And for me, I fell victim to a lot of what Jay Abraham calls intellectual entertainment. And I was really then just became intentional on what podcasts I chose, what coaching programs I chose, what books I chose, which conversations I chose, all had to center around solving those problems. And when I made that shift, you talk about acceleration. Mm-hmm. And when you focus and you get clear on the problem, and then you're consuming and having conversations and listening to things that help you solve those problems, you collapse time. And that's what good coaching programs and that's what good rooms will do for you. They help collapse time. And I've shared this because, and I've talked about this, is that if you believe in Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule, and you go through and if you buy into that, you believe that, Robert Greene, The 48 Powers of Law, and so many other great, fascinating reads, what he says is that there's only one thing that will challenge that, and that's coaching. Coaching will collapse time and will collapse the 10,000 hour rule. And so that was the big thing for me. And that's what I pushed these guys when they committed to Ironman. I was like, get a coach. Let's get Coach Elizabeth in here, or, because it'll collapse time and it'll help us stay safe. It'll help us stay on the path. It'll help us stay healthy, and we can essentially collapse time. And so that for me was the big aha and get several years ago. I don't know why it took so damn long, but hey, I'm only going to consume things that help me solve problems that I'm trying to solve.
Yeah.
Because you were relentless with that when you made to become a better marketer, a better copywriter. Like I couldn't go anywhere without Jay with 15 books on copywriting.
I carried it with me everywhere. That's what it takes. I mean, you got to learn how to solve that. You got to get clear on the problem. And once you get clear on the problem, man, there's a whole world of solutions out there that, the problems have been solved many, many times. It's been something I would say I'm relentless at is finding the best person in the world at whatever problem I currently have and hiring that person and being a good student from that point.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I got that from you. And I think one of the things that really separated me from that is, and we used to always read the same things. And I was like, man, and we can cover so much ground because I'm, if I'm operationally trying to solve a problem and I've got Jay over here, marketing and sales trying to solve a problem, I don't need to be reading sales and marketing stuff. I need to focus on the operational stuff. And so it was more of a divide and conquer.
Yep.
And we're consuming and solving problems faster. So you need to, if you guys have team members, your team, it's good to have them consume certain things, skill, mindset, personal development. But if we're really trying to solve a problem, help them solve problems in their lane. If you've got somebody that's head of sales, head of marketing, head of operations, head of finance, let them consume those problems, and you guys can.
And if all those problems are your problems, you might have a people problem. It might be time to make a hire.
I'm going to say yes. Make the hire. Oh, Dan gave in. He's coming. He signed up for Coach Burt.
It'll be good. That's going to be a great week. I can't wait.
Oh man.
Let's hope that they're not going to wheel us down the beach in a wheelchair after that, since it's right after the Ironman.
Right.
That beer and that week after is going to be fantastic.
Look what I found.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So my one of my two sons, Matthew, he gave me some cool stuff for Christmas. One of them was like this. You can't see it, but like there's this little matching set of a leather thing to just put stuff in, like keys, money, whatever. And there's this really big leather thing that goes over the desk. The problem is that ain't nothing was going on this desk because it was a damn mess. He's like, Dad, he's like, go in the kitchen and do dinner and then come back like in 45 minutes. And he like cleaned my whole desk up. And it was a beautiful gift. But through that, there was this pile of stuff. And that's where I was wondering where this was. Like, where's my original wealth chart? So yeah, I found it, and now I'm not going to lose it because I'm going to put it like over here where my new system is, which is really my hit list with my red zone, people in the red zone, which kind of leads me to what we challenged our Honey Badger leaders to on today's call. Or wait, was that yesterday, John?
Yesterday morning's call, yeah.
Yesterday was to put 5 people that need to hear the message, that need to hear your message. 5 people that you can start following up with, that that you can help them solve a problem in their business and help them grow their business, right? They may not know that you can help them solve that problem, that we can help them solve the problem together. Put 5 on there on your list. So I committed to 5 brokers, of which I've already put 1, 2, 3 brokers on there. I have 2 more that I got to add to the list, but I also added some top producers. And so why I kind of bring this up is that, number 1, do you have a wealth chart? Number 2, if you have it, are you adding people to your hit list on a regular basis? If your question is like, where do I find them? All you got to do is look on Facebook, all the people talking about their great year that they had and how many millions. I got one great sales agent sold 75 sales. She's on a team. 75 sales and 19 million in volume. She did on her own. I'm like, dang. And she's on a team. She doesn't even know that she's paying too much right now, but I can help her solve that problem, but I have to bring an awareness to the problem, and I just updated my list, man, took some people off, added some people that I hadn't talked to in a while or thought about in a while, and made those connections. So, same boring shit, just new week.
You know what I love about that, Al, is what type of problems you want to solve and what type of problems you don't want to solve. And
yes,
we all have the same amount of time. We can solve little baby bluegill problems, or we can solve big blue marlin problems. I don't know about you, but I'd rather solve blue marlin problems.
Man, I'm so glad you made that distinction, because that is something. When I was looking at this list, I'm like, what is the one thing? I just got a bunch of blue marlins on that hit list. So, it's not to say that you should ignore the bluegill, because I definitely do not. But that is a distinction when people say, well, how do I get to, 1,000 people in my rev share organization? Well, you gotta focus on Blue Marlins. You can't just be focused on Blue Gills if you want to get to 1,000. So
this is what I always tell people, Al, is that, and this is just kind of decision-making theory, is, there's whatever decision-making process you have. And for me, it's, I want to be clear on all the words, what's the data, but this is where most people, they don't even think about this, is that what's the secondary impact? What's the ripple effect to that decision? Hey, I want to start a team. Do you know what that means? Do you know what you're going to be responsible for? Do you know what type of problems that you now are going to inherit that you have to solve? What's the ripple effect? And most people don't take the time to think through that secondary impact, the ripple effect. And I don't know about you, I would rather solve a broker's, a large broker's problem and the ripple effect than trying to bring a squad of 10 brand new agents over and solve that problem. It's your choice. You get to solve whatever problem you want.
Yep.
Amen.
Fellas, fantastic as always. We're at the top of the hour. Like I said, this is one of my favorite times of the week. Look forward to connecting with you all, and appreciate everybody tuning in. If you got any questions, reach out. This is what we're here for. We're here to help you guys get unstuck, move forward to that bigger future. And man, can't wait to connect with you guys soon.
Right on.
Guys, have a great week, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.